Super Bowl 50 is here. Time to bring on the Stat Man. Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Enright from FootballNation.com. With me today, Kerry Byrne, ColdHardFootballFacts.com. He's the man in charge of all the quality stats when it comes to NFL football. Kerry, how's it going?
It's doing well. By the way, the proper title, Bill, is the potentate of pigskin.
I like that even better.
It's alliterative. We like that.
Kerry, we got a big matchup this weekend.
Yep.
In the last game of the season, Broncos and the Panthers. You've been following the quality stats all season long. What are the numbers telling you?
Well, hey, this is kind of, I think people know it instinctively. It is a bit of a statistical mismatch, Bill. A couple things. One, Carolina number one this year in our quality stats power rankings. What we do, we size up every team across the board and all 22 Cold Hard Football Facts quality stats. And Carolina number, the highest average rank across the board. They have no statistical weaknesses, Bill. They're a very strong team. We know that by how well they played, by their 17-1 record now. On the other side of the spectrum, Denver is a huge historical statistical anomaly, Bill. The lowest ranked passing game ever to reach an NFL championship game, going back not just in the Super Bowl era, but back to 1940. They were 31st out of 32 teams in passing efficiency.
Wow.
The most important measure, usually the stat that correlates most closely to team success, 31 out of 32 teams. But that includes Brock Osweiler. If we look only at Peyton Manning, he was 34th out of 34 qualifying quarterbacks this year in passing efficiency.
Awful.
And we've never seen this, Bill. We've never seen a team that struggled to pass the ball as badly as Denver did reach the Super Bowl. And, obviously Denver was able to manage that. Peyton Manning played well in the AFC title game, two touchdown passes,
Sure.
0 interceptions. People kind of use the term game manager as a criticism. At Cold Hard Football Facts, we love game managers because they historically win games. And, he was able to do that against the Patriots. If he can do that again against Carolina, Denver has a shot. But without him playing flawless football, this could be another, Carolina train wreck where they just run a team off the field like they have so many times this season.
So, okay, we analyzed Peyton Manning and his downfall this year. But how about that Broncos defense, one of the best in the NFL?
Very good defense, but, this is not Carolina's got a very good defense, too. I think the difference in the amount of points they gave up was, 12, 14 points, differential between the two defenses. The thing is, what we found over time, Bill, is teams with statistical weak links, those weak links invariably snap under the pressure of playoff football.
Right.
And Denver is a team with statistical weak links. And, people have all these phrases, defense wins championships is a classic.
Right.
Defense does not win championships. What wins championships, Bill, is balance. And the Carolina Panthers were the most balanced team in football this year.
When you talk about the Carolina Panthers being balanced, we don't see Cam Newton lighting up the passing records. We don't see him, having these wide receivers that all have 1,000 yards. It's a little bit of a different kind of quarterback than we're used to seeing in a Super Bowl. Why don't you talk about some of his stats in terms of passing efficiency and also rushing efficiency?
Well, you look at his total touchdowns, number one in football, 45 total touchdowns this year. And one thing we look at, Bill, and I'm looking it up right now, passer rating, there are statisticians out there, football fans out there who criticize passer rating. If anyone criticizes passer rating, they're an idiot. Don't listen to them.
Okay.
Few stats in sports correlate more highly to success than passing efficiency on both sides of the ball. And the way we look at that is passer rating differential.
Right.
Your offensive passer rating versus your defensive passer rating. And in that respect, Carolina, I'm looking at it right now. Carolina was number 7 in the NFL this year in offensive passer rating. But we have another stat we call real quarterback rating. And real quarterback rating is not just passing, because passer rating is not a quarterback rating. It measures only passing, nothing else. It doesn't purport to measure anything else, only passing. Real quarterback rating, we look at how well they run the ball. We count rushing touchdowns. We count fumbles. We count sacks. All those stats go into real quarterback rating to spit out a kind of passer rating type number.
I'd have to imagine that a player like Cam Newton would be leading in that category.
So Carolina they were number 4 this year in that number.
Oh, wow.
But they were number 7 in pass rating. So it shows you how the impact of his rushing ability lifted them from number 7 in the NFL in pass rating to number 4 in overall quarterback play. Bottom line, near the top of the league, because of Cam Newton's play. But here's a big issue, Bill, talking about the balance. We have 22 quality stats. I'm looking at our game comparison right now. Mm-hmm. Carolina ranks in the top 9 in 21 of 22 Cold Hard Football Facts quality stats.
Wow.
They're a statistical juggernaut. And again, overall, number 1 league-wide. Number 1 in our league-wide power rankings. Number 1 in our quality standings, which is how well you play against opponents with winning records. Number 1 in offensive efficiency. And here's where Carolina really makes hay. Not only is Cam Newton effective, but Carolina was number 1 in defensive real quarterback rating, which means they made the opposing quarterbacks the most inefficient in football.
Right.
They make life hard on opposing quarterbacks. So when you have a great quarterback like Cam Newton and a defense that makes other quarterbacks, that renders all other quarterbacks inefficient, you're going to win a lot of football games. Sure. And that's really where the Panthers, made hay this year. They're also number 1 in real quarterback rating differential. So the greatest differential between Cam Newton, between their quarterbacks play and the opposing quarterbacks play. Number 1 in defensive pass rating. They're the best pass defense in football. Like I said, this Carolina team, a juggernaut. And I can see Peyton Manning having a long, hard, bad day in this Super Bowl.
Are there any categories where the Broncos come out ahead in the quality stats over the Panthers?
Yeah, a couple. In defensive passing yards per attempt. This is how many yards your opponent averages against you in the passing game every time they drop back to pass, okay? Right. So it's not just when you throw the football. We count the impact of sacks. Denver, number 1 in the NFL. Opponents only 5.1 yards every time they drop back to pass. Carolina was number 2, though, Bill.
Okay.
At 5.4. Denver was number 1 on our defensive hog index, the top defensive front in football.
They get after the quarterback.
What's that?
They get after the quarterback.
Get after the quarterback. They also stop the run. They do everything, get off the field on third down. All those factors are components of our defensive hog index. And number 1 in total team yards allowed. This isn't just yards allowed on offense. This is yards allowed on punt returns, yards allowed on kick returns, yards allowed, defensively when opponents, intercept the ball or return fumbles. We call it total team yards. Number 1 in that area. So it is hard to move the ball on Denver. It's also pretty hard to move the ball on Carolina. Plus, they have a legit big-time offense. So definitely probably the 2 best defenses in football statistically. One team has a great quarterback, and one team doesn't. Not that Peyton Manning's not a Hall of Famer, but we all have seen that right now he is not. He's not a great quarterback right now.
With the Panthers so dominant in your quality stats, are you expecting a dominant performance from Carolina in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'm thinking a 2-touchdown victory, Bill. Wow. And if it gets bigger, I wouldn't be surprised. This is probably the greatest statistical mismatch in Super Bowl history between a quarterback and a pass defense,
okay.
or a defense against the quarterbacks based on our real quarterback rating, based on our defensive passer rating. This is a huge mismatch, Bill. 90% of NFL games are won by teams with the more efficient quarterback.
Right.
And if you're a betting man, you're going to bet that Cam Newton's going to be a lot more efficient than Peyton Manning. But hey, my respect for Peyton Manning grew in that AFC title game where he had to play flawlessly.
And he did.
Yeah. If he throws 1 interception, Bill, they lose that game. If he fumbles the ball once, they lose that game. And he didn't. He played flawless football. Tom Brady, meanwhile, 2 interceptions, including one to Von Miller that really killed the Patriots, set up a good scoring opportunity for Denver. Those 1 or 2 plays and turnover plays really impact the game dramatically.
Kerry Bird from ColdHardFootballFacts.com. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Bill, always a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, my man. Take care.